Tyler, Environment Canada has been challenged to put out accurate forecasts within hours, and now they're looking ahead, as they do, for an entire season, predicting a normal winter, quote, normal winter in Western Canada. What does normal look like these days?
Normal certainly changing, and in a profession, a lifestyle, a business, as risk, as prone to risk as farming, that changing average, that changing normal makes life pretty tough. But I think a lot of farmers across the country will be pretty happy to hear that we're looking at average precipitation, maybe even above average, above normal moisture in some parts of the prairies. Snow isn't just a winter issue. Snow holds a lot of moisture that puts that goes into the ground in the springtime, and so having we've seen a lot of snow already on the prairies. I think that's giving people hope that the growing conditions next year will be a bit better, and we'll be able to avoid some of these conditions that we've had in the last couple of years with a more average looking winter.
And last season, good growing season. 2 years ago, not so good growing season. So we're seeing these swings. So does normal then signal a decent growing season to come? Likely, if this forecast holds up.
It should. I think most farmers will tell you that it's really too early to know. The old saying would go, don't count your eggs before your chicks before the eggs hatch. That's really true in farming. It's really difficult to know what exactly things are going to look like. We often see it where at the beginning of a season we'll have weather conditions that look really favorable, and something will take a turn for the worse. So we'll wait and see how well Environment Canada does with its predictions over the winter. But if things hold true the way that they are, and next year looks like a favorable year, then it should be another good year for Canadian farmers. It really is, hopefully another glimmer of hope of last year, where they recovered. Our production was up, but it was really only because production was so low the year before.
And in that spirit of not counting one's chicks before they hatch, why does Environment Canada put out forecasts like this?
They really they're important for again, not just farming, but for businesses across the country, for people that are really trying to understand what conditions are likely to come. One of the important pieces of the farm value chain is our railway networks that are responsible from getting grain off the prairies and into ports across the country. Tough winters are tough on railways. They don't do well in the cold. When it gets too cold, it's harder to get the trains to stop, so they've got to slow down. They've got to reduce their load. The railways have been working pretty hard to deal with winter weather. So having an understanding of what the likely winter conditions are going to be, for example, helps railways better plan so that they can make sure that the grain is going to get off the farms and to ports and then to consumers around the world that need it.
So when it comes to uh, consumers, trying to read the tea leaves of affordability, of planning household budgets, etc., what should they take away from a forecast that calls for a normal winter?
Well, hopefully, it'll take away that in Canada our production is going to be good. Or again, this is we're really looking at across the prairies, where you know where hopefully we'll see a good growing season. I think it maybe should give them a glimmer of hope. That being said, there's a lot of other things along the horizon. Our input costs for farmers are still higher. We've still got this global instability around the world, and even if we have a normal growing season in Canada, as we did this year, there's still this chance that in other parts of the world we'll see production disruptions, bad weather. We saw it in Europe last year. We saw it in Asia last year. We saw it in South America last year. Canada was almost one of those few regions that actually had pretty good conditions. If we have another year like that again next year, those global problems could wreak havoc on Canadian consumers too.